The Ultimate Fighting Championship UFC is an American mixed martial arts MMA promotion company based in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is owned and operated by TKO Group Holdings, the majority-owned subsidiary of Endeavor Group Holdings. It is the largest MMA promotion in the world as of 2023. It produces events worldwide that showcase 11 weight divisions, 8 men's and 3 women's, and abides by the unified rules of mixed martial arts. As of 2022, it had held over 600 events. Dana White has been its president since 2001 and CEO since 2023. Under White's stewardship, it has grown into a global multi-billion-dollar enterprise. The UFC was founded by businessman Art Davie and Brazilian martial artist Rorion Gracie, and the first event was held in 1993 at the Michaels Sports Arena in Denver, Colorado. The purpose of the UFC's early competitions was to identify the most effective martial art in a contest with minimal rules and no weight classes between competitors of different fighting disciplines. In subsequent events, more rigorous rules were created and fighters began adopting effective techniques from more than one discipline, which indirectly helped create a separate style of fighting known as present-day mixed martial arts. The UFC was initially owned by the Semaphore Entertainment Group SEG until it had financial issues and it was sold to the brothers Frank and Lorenzo Fertitta in 2001, who formed the company Zuffa to operate the UFC, and placed Dana White as the president of the company in 2016. UFC's parent company, Zuffa, was sold to a group led by Endeavor, then known as William Morris Endeavor WMBIMG, including Silver Lake Partners, Kohlberg Kravitz Roberts and MSC Capital, for $4.025 billion. In 2021, Endeavor bought out Zuffa's other owners at a valuation of $1.7 billion. The organization had 578 fighters contracted as of January 2023. With a TV deal and expansion in Australia, Asia, Europe, and new markets within the United States, the UFC has achieved greater mainstream media coverage. It earned $609 million in 2015, and its next domestic media rights agreement with ESPN was valued at $1.5 billion over a 5-year term. In April 2023, Endeavor Group Holdings announced that UFC would merge with the wrestling promotion WWE to form TKO Group Holdings, a new public company majority owned by Endeavor, with Vince McMahon serving as an executive chairman of the new entity and White remaining as UFC president. The merger was completed on September 12, 2023. Art Davie proposed to Shawn Michaels and Rorion Gracie an 8-man single elimination tournament called War of the Worlds. It was inspired by the Gracie's in Action video series produced by the Gracie family of Brazil, which featured Gracie Jiu-Jitsu students defeating martial artists of various disciplines such as karate, kung fu, and kickboxing on Vale Tudo matches. The tournament would also feature martial artists from different disciplines facing each other in no-holds-barred combat to determine the best martial art, and would aim to replicate the excitement of the matches Davie saw on the videos. Gracie accepted, as he was interested in showcasing and promoting his family's own jiu-jitsu for a wide audience. Michaels, the film director/screenwriter and Gracie student, agreed to be the event's creative director. Davie directed the business plan, and 28 investors contributed the initial capital to start WOW Promotions to develop the tournament into a television franchise. In 1993, WOW Promotions sought a television partner and approached pay-per-view producers TVKO, HBO, and Set Showtime and Campbell McLaren and David Isaacs at Semaphore Entertainment Group SEG. Both TVKO and Set declined, but SEG, a pioneer in pay-per-view television that had produced such offbeat events as a tennis match between Jimmy Connors and Martina Navratilova, became WOW's partner in May 1993. UFC promoters initially pitched the event as a real-life fighting video game tournament similar to Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. SEG contacted video and film art director Jason Cusson to design the fighting arena for the event. Rorion and Davie didn't want a traditional road ring, citing fears by showing old Vale Tudo footage that the fighters could escape through the ropes during grappling and use it as an advantage, or fall off and hurt themselves. SEG's executives agreed, and also wanted a way to visually differentiate their event from professional boxing and professional wrestling. Some ideas included a traditional road ring surrounded by netting, the moat with alligators, a raised platform surrounded by razor wire fence, electrified fencing, men in togas, and netting that could be lowered from the ceiling by a pulley. Eventually Cusson designed an arena with 8 sides surrounded by chain link fence, the trademarked octagon, which became the event's signature setting. Cousin remained the group's production designer through UFC 27. SEG devised the show's name as the Ultimate Fighting Championship. WOW Promotions and SEG produced the first event, later retroactively called UFC 1, the Michaels Sports Arena in Denver, Colorado on November 12, 1993. Hart Davey was its booker and matchmaker. It proposed to find answers for sports fans' questions such as, can a wrestler beat a boxer? As with most martial arts at the time, fighters typically had skills in just one discipline and little experience against opponents with differing skills. The television broadcast featured kickboxer Kevin Rozier, taekwondo practitioner Patrick Smith, savate fighter Gerard Gordo, karate expert Zane Frazier, shoot fighter Ken Shamrock, sumo wrestler Tila Tuli, boxer Art Jimerson, and 175 pounds 79 kilograms Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt Royce Gracie, younger brother of UFC co-founder Ryan, whom Ryan selected to represent his family. Royce's submission skills proved the most effective in the inaugural tournament, earning him the first ever UFC tournament championship after submitting Jimerson, Shamrock, and Gordo in succession. The show was extremely successful, with 86,592 pay-per-view television subscribers. It's disputed whether the promoters intended the event to be a precursor to future events. That show was only supposed to be a one-off, eventual UFC president Dana White said. It did so well on pay-per-view they decided to do another, and another. Never in a million years did these guys think they were creating a sport. Davey, in his 2014 book Is This Legal?, an account of the creation of the first UFC event, disputes the perception that the UFC was seen by WOW Promotions and SEG as a one-off, since SEG offered a 5-year joint development deal to WOW. He says, clearly, both Campbell and Meyrowitz shared my unwavering belief that War of the Worlds would be a continuing series of fighting tournaments, a franchise, rather than a one-night stand. With no weight classes, fighters often faced significantly larger or taller opponents. Keith the Giant Killer Hackney faced Emmanuel Yarbrough at UFC 3 with a 9-inch height and 400 pounds 180 kilograms weight disadvantage. During this early phase of the organization, the UFC showcased a bevy of styles and fighters. Aside from the aforementioned Royce Gracie, Ken Shamrock, and Patrick Smith, they also featured competitors such as Hall of Famer Dan Severn, Marco Ruas, Garrett Goodridge, Don Frye, Kima Leopoldo, Oleg Taktarov, and Tank Abbott. In April 1995, following the UFC 5 in Charlotte, North Carolina, Davey and Gracie sold their interest in the franchise to SEG and disbanded. WOW Promotions, faced with the prospect of folding, the UFC stepped outside the bounds of pay-per-view and made a foray into television. After being featured in a reality television series, American Casino, and seeing how well the series worked as a promotion vehicle, the Fertitta brothers developed the idea of UFC creating its own reality series. Logo of The Ultimate Fighter. Their idea, The Ultimate Fighter TUF, was a reality television show featuring up-and-coming MMA fighters in competition for a 6-figure UFC contract, with fighters eliminated from competition via exhibition mixed martial arts matches. It was pitched to several networks, each one rejecting the idea outright. Not until they approached Spike TV, with an offer to pay the $10 million production costs themselves, did they find an outlet. In January 2005, Spike TV launched The Ultimate Fighter 1 TUF1 in the time slot following WWE Raw. The show became an instant success, culminating with a notable season finale brawl featuring light heavyweight finalists Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonnar going toe-to-toe for the right to earn the 6-figure contract. The live broadcast of the season finale drew a very impressive 1.9 overall rating. Dana White credits TUF1 for saving the UFC, and claims that the contract for the second season was made outside of the venue on a napkin immediately after the finale. On the heels of the Griffin/Bonnar finale, a second season of The Ultimate Fighter launched in August 2005, and 2 more seasons appeared in 2006. Spike and the UFC continued to create their new seasons until the show moved to FX in 2012. Following the success of The Ultimate Fighter, Spike also picked up UFC Unleashed, an hour-long weekly show featuring select fights from previous events. Spike also signed on to broadcast Live UFC Fight Night, a series of fight events debuting in August 2005, and countdown specials to promote upcoming UFC pay-per-view cards. After a very successful run on Spike and with the upcoming announcement of the UFC's new relationship with Fox, Spike officials made a statement regarding the end of their partnership with the UFC. The Ultimate Fighter Season 14 in September will be our last. Our 6-year partnership with the UFC has been incredibly beneficial in building both our brands, and we wish them all the best in the future. With the announcement of UFC's partnership with Fox in August 2011, The Ultimate Fighter, which entered its 14th season in that September, moved to the FX network to air on Friday nights starting with Season 15 in the spring of 2012. Along with the network change, episodes are now edited and broadcast within a week of recording instead of a several-month delay, and elimination fights are aired live.